RTB 101, where we discuss practical questions to equip you to share your faith more effectively. And here to help me talk about the question, hasn't scientific discovery made God unnecessary, is my favorite philosopher and theologian, Kenneth Samples. Welcome, Ken.
Hi, good to see you.
It's good to see you again. And I think this is a great topic. It comes straight out of your brand new book. Why don't you briefly tell us about that?
Well, it's entitled Christianity Crossexamined. Is it rational, relevant, and good? And I've been wanting to write it for a long time because in the old days, Krista, I'd get truth questions. Now I get lots of questions about whether Christianity is good, so I've tried to bring them together.
Well, that brings us right to one of your chapters of hasn't scientific discovery made God unnecessary? It kind of rests on this idea that what we know about science and what we think about faith are two different spheres of knowledge. Maybe you can talk to us about that.
Yeah, classically there have been differing perspectives on how religion and science work together. Kind of Ian Barber presented these four views. Some people take a conflict model where religion, faith, and science are at odds with one another. Others, non-overlapping magisteria, they're separated. But I think classically, Krista, science and faith have worked together. They've had their issues at times, but most of the time they've been allies, not enemies.
Yeah, and kind of one of those pivotal moments of them being more enemies that everyone always goes back to is Galileo, of course. But, you know, neither one of us are scientists here, but I love in your book how you highlight some areas where you actually see science and faith coming together as friends. Maybe you can talk to us about a couple of those.
Yeah, I think one critical idea, Krista, is that it was the Christian worldview, the broad theological principles out of the Bible that really birthed science. I mean, science was born one time in Christian Europe right around 1650, and it was the ideas that there's a real world out there, that it's good, that you can study it, that you can use the mind God gave you to study it. So the vast majority of the founding fathers of science were almost to a person, Christian or Jewish.
That's so interesting because I don't know if that our culture is really cognizant of that these days, but that there is that historical alliance between science, modern science, and the Christian worldview. I'm wondering, you know, do you see any areas where the Bible really strongly corresponds to what science is telling us?
Yeah, I think what we call the starting points, the philosophical presuppositions of science are deeply dependent on what I would call a Judeo-Christian worldview. Again, that there's a real world out there. It's not like the Hindus say, illusory. It's not a Gnostic world, the heresy in Christian history. It's a real world, and it's a world that's ordered, it has patterns, it has regularity. Humans are made in the image of God and can track that order. I think the presuppositions or starting points of science are deeply influenced by a biblical perspective.
Would you even say that science can give us insight into our purpose, or that there's something more than just purposeless chance?
I think science is very good on the what and the how, not too good on the why.
Okay.
Therefore, things like metaphysical questions, is there a mind behind the universe? Do you and I have a mind? Or ethical issues or aesthetic issues, I don't think that's science's lane. I think that's where philosophy, religion, worldview can buttress the scientific enterprise.
And that's really why we all need each other, to have that interdisciplinary dialogue of scientists from different disciplines of science talking to theologians, talking to philosophers, ethicists, and that's a huge part of what we do here at Reasons to Believe.
It's a critical community, and we have an integrative model, which is, I think, very nicely fits with science and faith.
Well, thank you, Ken, for helping us think through this very provocative topic. And I want to encourage all of you to go check out Ken's new book, Christianity Cross-Examined.